WBISLP 1069, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Police Report Show. The Police Report Show was created to keep the public informed and to build and maintain a positive relationship with the community. WBISLP 106.9 FM, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina. Outside the listening area, tune in on WBISAwesomeRadio.org.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Police Report First Responder Show here on Awesome Radio 106.9 FM. I am joined by Sergeant Lee Darnell from the Pitt County Sheriff's Office, who's going to give us updates on what's going on in Pitt County and surrounding areas, if he will. Also, Mohammad going to share some cyber security tips with us. Unfortunately, Greenville PD representatives were unavailable, but I do have one document in front of me that I'll make mention about, and perhaps Sergeant Darnell can shed some light on it as well. And that is into the murder of Jaden Harrison, who was 21, and how the suspect, they chose to prosecute that suspect out of juvenile court and into superior court, adult court, if you will. So, to begin today's topic, I'm going to ask our Sarge, Lee Darnell, introduce himself at this time and begin the topic of discussion. I think Sarge is muted. I think you muted, Sergeant. Okay. Bob, do you have anything to offer at this time before I get to see what's going on with Sarge?
Testing. It works. So what I've got?
Yeah, it was something.
All right. I found that people have. There's been you see on ZipRecruiter. I found 8 jobs that it seems most likely a scam because, the price. There's some of them their price is a bit too much. Their pay grade's too much, and I highly doubt it's legit. Plus, there's another thing that's a scam. If it says email interview, that's a definition. That's definitely a scam. So if you see any online, so if you see anything that involves email interview, do not accept it because that's a scam. They'll probably just steal information out of you. They'll try to make it sound convincing, but they won't even call you. And they also might give you a fake phone number. And if you want to check it, if you want to be sure that job is legit, look up on the job where the location is before you decide to make a decision. Because I found one of them says it's on Greenville, but instead it's actually on the gas station at Greenville, but that the address they gave us. But I know that the company is actually on New York.
All right, Sarge, would you try your mic at this time? Yeah, I still can't get him. I don't know what's going on. All right. Anything else, Mohammed?
Well, I've seen on advertisement that they said if you keep getting scam messages, that means your data has been leaked. They said there's an app for it that can prevent that from happening, but I can't legit say if it's legit because if it's on advertisement on your phone, then why not put it on TV so people can watch it and see if it's legit? Do we know if it does it really work, or does it work at all?
Yeah. Um, while you're doing that, I'm going to ask Sarge, if you don't mind calling the conference line. I'll open up the line because I don't know what's going on with this mic. I just tried a couple of things. It's got to be on mute, Sarge. No. Would you rather call in, sir? Because we got to continue the broadcast. Do you have the conference line number? Just grab a pen, or I'll text it to you right quick. Mohammed, go ahead with something else.
All right. I found on the news it just says AT&T says leaked data of 70 million people is not from its system. There's been a massive data impacting over 71 million people that did not originate its from its system after a hacker leaked it in its cybercrime forum and claimed it was stolen in a 2021 breach of a company. While Bleeping Computer has not been able to confirm legitimacy of all data in the database, we have confirmed some of the entries are accurate, including those whose data is not publicly accessible for scrapping. The data is from an alleged 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 2021 AT&T data breach that a threat actor known as Shiny Hunters attempted to sell raid form data theft form for starting a price of $200,000 and increase and offers a $30,000. The hackers stated they would sell it to immediately for $1 million, but that's but I would recommend not to accept it. All right, and there's also something else. If we, for ransomware attacks, if you hackers are trying to download the files, it may take way longer than it should be. But they knew that, so they also install a backdoor program to the system of the company to have a third party. But the company may not know it because you see, ransomware attacks leads to Trojan attacks, and Trojan attacks. Well, Trojan attacks leads to ransomware attacks. Let's see, for Trojan attacks is well known as a Trojan horse. As- It delivers ransomware, cryptojackers tool, which enables an attacker to use a device to mine in cryptocurrency and infect devices. Tiny Bank, Tiny Banker enables hackers to steal users' financial details. And Zeus or Robot, Zbot. Zeus is a toolkit uh, that targets financial services and enables hackers to build their own Trojan malware. The source code uses techniques like form grabbing and keystroke logging to steal users' credentials and financial details. Ransomware attacks is a leading cyber threat to corporate, government, and personal cybersecurity. Okay.
Hey, Sarge, let me connect. Let me connect the phone. Let me connect the phone call to the online so we be on the broadcast. Oh, okay, Sarge, are you there, sir?
I am.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Sergeant Darnell from the Pitt County Sheriff's Office. We had some audio difficulties, but he's joining us by phone. So I'm going to ask him if he has any updates concerning issues in Pitt County.
Thank you for having me. I apologize for the difficulty. I'm not sure what was up with the microphone. It's just a busy time as always. Starting to heat up out there a little bit. Pollen's starting to come out. The world's starting to come back to life and starting to have a few more events out there and just encouraging folks to enjoy the warmer weather, but do it responsibly and be kind to each other. Let us know what we can do to help you, and we're just doing our best to take care of everybody.
Absolutely, I would agree with you. And of course, the main thing is safety, as you mentioned, start to get warmer. When we have warmer weather, different situations occur. But it's up to all of us to maintain safety. Is that right, Sarge?
That is right. It's that time of the year. Spring break is happening, and summer vacations starting to pop up before you know it. School will be letting out. Travel is going to be increasing a lot, and things to keep in mind like home security. Make sure that your properties are up to date. Make sure that that you keep your homes and your vehicles secured. Please keep your cars locked. Even at home, please keep your cars locked. Don't keep guns in your cars. We're still having a lot of cars broken into that are left unlocked, and still having guns left in cars that are being taken. And that's a huge problem that concerns us. And if you're leaving town for any length of time, you have a concern and would like for us to keep an eye on your home, you can go to our website, pittcountysheriff.com, under the Services and Programs tab. You can scroll down to House Check, and you can find a form that you can fill out to have deputies ride by and keep a check on your home while you're out of town. It's great during holidays, during vacations, anytime when you're looking to leave town, whether it's a day or a weekend or a week, whatever it may be, to give you a little peace of mind so you can enjoy yourself and not worry.
And Sarge, let me ask you a question relating to what you said about cars being unlocked and weapons inside the vehicle. Because I'm aware of several jurisdictions where I formerly lived, and it is illegal to have a weapon inside of a vehicle, locked inside of a vehicle. But I know that's not such the case here in North Carolina. So, is there any what's the word I'm looking for? Is there any measures that people could take, or is there anything being done to reverse that law so that people can stop leaving these weapons in vehicles?
Well, it's already against the law to break into cars and to steal stuff, so that law is in place, and we're doing all we can to stop that and to catch the people responsible. And the biggest thing we can do is to be responsible and to keep them from breaking in. Now,
Right.
you know, it's so weird that we see it on video time and time again that these thieves, they will go around from door to door, from house to house, and they will check the door handles on cars. And they're looking for quick, easy money. They don't want to waste their time. They don't want to risk getting caught. They don't want to spend all night working. They want quick, easy money. So they will check the door handle on a car, and if it's locked, they will leave it alone and go to the next house.
Yeah,
The
and
next car.
yeah, I would just want to make this
So if you won't save yourself the trouble of losing your items, lock your cars.
I agree.
9 times out of 10, that will protect you from being a victim. But if they find a car door unlocked, then they will open the door, climb inside, and see what they can find. That may be pocket change. That may be a gun.
Yeah.
That may be a purse or a prized item or whatever's inside. The problem also comes in, what if you're walking out to the car to ride to the store to get a drink or a loaf of bread, and you surprise them while they're in the car? Then you're also looking at a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
So many things come to mind. Keep your doors locked, please.
And
For your sake.
Yeah, and
For all of us.
Yeah, and what makes it even more dangerous is if Like you said, they might just attempt to break in just because they see loose change or candy, whatever. But what I fear the most is a juvenile, a young person breaking into the car. There's a weapon in there. That person takes possession of that weapon, not being familiarized with the weapon, and do something drastic. You know, potentially kill himself or another individual. That is my main concern about that, and people leaving weapons in cars. But since we have Mohammad here today, I want to ask Mohammad if you want to expand on that as a regular private citizen.
Well, the truth is, if you let's just say that people shouldn't leave their guns in the car, or because if they did, they might do things they might regret. And think about it. Who knows? You probably if you might accidentally get a visitor like your grandson or your family member, but they didn't know you were kind of armed. You don't want them to know that you're an armed man, or you kill people, because if you do, that's kind of like you're kind of giving them bad vibes. It makes them feel uncomfortable with. I mean, I've seen people have. I mean, like I've seen people leave bullets in their car as well, even the cup holders or the carpets, anywhere. And if you, I recommend get rid of them. Otherwise, you might have trouble. You might end up getting someone get into trouble. Who knows? Maybe a kid might try to, or maybe probably try to eat it, one of the bullets, without you realizing it.
I did that one time and never did that again. And I was in law enforcement at the time. And I had a friend with me, but thankfully he worked at the New Jersey State Police Academy, so he was familiar with firearms and stuff. And I had to go somewhere. Matter of fact, I had to go on the base of Fort Dix. Although I'm licensed and allowed to carry my off-duty weapon, but you cannot take a weapon onto federal property. Nobody has that right unless you're a federal employee and law enforcement. So I couldn't take my weapon onto the federal property. I left it under the driver's seat of my vehicle. Then we got back to where we were going. I needed to take my car somewhere and forgot I had left the weapon under the vehicle. When he put on brakes as he driving, it slid from under the seat. He got real excited. He called me up right away. Hey man, what you doing with this big old gun under the seat? You know better than that. I said, Gene, you know you're absolutely right. I have never did that again.
There's also been a time before. You see, a few years ago at the gym I go, called Champions. There are some people selling guns, but until the police always exercise in the gym week that I go, there's been not many that people showed up for that. So that's something. I mean, I even called the police one time when I see guys selling guns in the gym. I think it happened year 2016 at the time.
Yeah. All right, we have 2 minutes and a half before the first break. When we come back, we'll have 10-minute talk time, followed by our final 20 minutes. So I'm going to give this 2 minutes to Sergeant Darnell.
Great. And, I appreciate the length of time to cover this topic because we just see it over and over, and it really does concern me. But I'll even harp on myself. I used to carry my gun in my car years ago, and I would lock it in there so it would be in there before. And I didn't think anything of it because nobody's going to break into my car. But then I saw a couple other officers have people break into their cars and steal their guns. And that was an eye-opening experience to me.
Right, yeah.
Uh-oh. And I've never done it since. That scared me.
Exactly, yeah.
So if it can happen to them, it can happen to me, and it can happen to you.
Like you said,
I'm not arming my local criminals because they have enough guns. They're not getting mine.
But like you said, that was an eye opener. And like you, I never did that again once. I left that in my car. But like I said, luckily for me and thankfully for me, my friend was employed by the New Jersey State Police. He was an instructor at the academy, so fortunately, he was able to one to find it when it slid from under the seat, rather than somebody else that's not familiar with the weapon. So we have 30 seconds before we go to the first break. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Police Report, First Responders Show, here on Awesome Radio 106.9 FM, WPIS LP. After this brief break, we'll be back with another 10-minute talk time. If you have anything to share, please don't hesitate to call in to 252-756-2008. We will return after this brief message, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it locked right here. Back in a moment.
Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training of the Lord. That's what Ephesians 6:4 says. But what does that mean to exasperate your kids?
This is Real Family Life with Dave and Ann Wilson.
I mean, that's a great question. I think what Paul is saying there is we exasperate our children when we don't do this, when we don't bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Here's what we do as parents. I know it's easy to do. We think the Christian schools should do that, or the church or the youth group should do that. And they're obviously partners with us, but God says to us as parents, this is your job. And if you don't do it, you're sort of exasperating your children. Take a step today to say, I'm going to train and instruct my son or daughter in the Lord.
For Ann and Dave Wilson, and that's Real Family Life.
Get more at familylife.com/real.
Hi, this is Dr. Armistead from Physicians East Dermatology. You are listening to Awesome Radio 106.9.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are still tuned into Awesome Radio 106.9 FM, WPIS LP. Also, don't forget our station, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, which is, I got to get back to, I forgot what the station ID was. So please pardon me. I'm going to pick back up with Sergeant Darnell.
Thank you, my friend. And I like the comment you had a second ago about calling in. It's been a while since we've had a caller. I really do hope people are listening out there. And I'd encourage anyone to call in with any questions, any comments. And that's the reason we do the show. The reason we get up every morning in the kind of business we're in. It's all about taking care of people.
Yeah. Sarge, since you mentioned that,
Yes, sir.
we do have a caller. Caller, you are calling into the Awesome Radio. You are live on the air. You have a question or comment?
I actually have a comment, and my comment is to Dr. Glenn Johnson. You are a faithful host. The police report is an awesome topic that we hear on Awesome Radio and our sister stations. And I just want to say to you, I want to give you your flowers while you can smell them and let you know you're doing a fabulous job. And your faithfulness and consistency has not gone unnoticed. I've gained much insight with the information that you've given at the times that I've caught your show. And Lady Jacqueline, who also co-hosts with you, you both are doing a fine job. Thank you, Dr. Glenn, for allowing and sharing with us.
Thank you very much, caller. And caller, you mentioned our sister station. I absolutely forgot what the broadcast station ID was. If you have that handy, if you could mention it to me, that would be fabulous.
Smooth R&B 100, if I'm not mistaken, 3 in Rocky Mount.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Smooth Radio 100.3 Rocky Mountain, North Carolina, everybody. I want to thank my caller for reminding me. Thank you, caller.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, we have 7 minutes remaining for this particular 10-minute segment. I want to go back to Sergeant Darnell for a minute before I give it to Mohammad, because I remember last year, if not a couple months ago, we had another individual special join Sergeant Darnell on the Police Report show to talk about gun safety. So my question to the Sarge is, what's currently developing as far as gun safety here in Pitt County?
Well, you know, that's always a hot topic, and Pitt County is blessed with a very strong Safe Kids, using the topic, and you'll see that pop up on the sheriff's office social media pages quite often. And we have a Facebook presence, a LinkedIn presence, which doesn't show as much that kind of thing on LinkedIn, but we also have a Twitter presence and now a new Instagram presence. You can follow us on those, and you'll see topics like that pop up. We try to add as many resources as we can out there for the citizens to follow and use as possible. We stay engaged with other community groups, local, state, federal. We're also working with federal partners to push the Innab network through our forensic lab. We'll have to bring some other guests on to discuss that. But to be a nationally accredited forensic ballistics lab here locally, that will make a huge difference in crime solving and make it a safer community here through that. So we're attacking it from every angle, and we have groups out there like our gang and guns unit, specialized unit, working the streets every day, removing illegal weapons from the streets, charging people, putting them in jail, and focusing on the enforcement aspects of guns.
Yeah.
So we're educating, we're enforcing, doing everything we can to make it safe.
And one thing I want to mention, when you mentioned the various social media pages for the sheriff's office, is that I also have a direct link to the Pitt County Sheriff's Office's Facebook page. I save that page as a page on my main Facebook account, so I can just click on the link. And the reason why, there's always a wealth of information, not always negative information, but there's information on it concerning warrants, arrest, promotions from within the sheriff's office, and a lot of other valuable information. So, as Sarge had pointed out, make yourselves available to the various social media platforms for the Pitt County Sheriff's Office. Mohammad, 3 minutes.
All right. Well, there are 10 keys, 10 types of keys of what Trojan attacks could lead to. 1. Backdoor Trojans. 2. Distributed denial of services attack Trojans. 3. Fraudulent antivirus Trojans. 4. Downloader Trojans. 5. Mail finder Trojans. 6. Rootkit Trojan. 7. Remote access Trojans. 8. Ransomware Trojans. 9. Short message services Trojan. And 10. Banking Trojan. For the banking Trojans, is an example, is a type of targeted online activities of personal information used for banking, given the growing population online, banking and carelessness of bank accounts holders. This is a valuable approach for cyber attackers to obtain funds quickly. The Trojan horse installs on the user system and looks like a regular program. Once the user clicks on it, it activates and will trigger a series of phishing tactics. Banking Trojans often employs phishing techniques such as redirecting victims to bogus pages where they are meant to input their access credentials.
So, Mohammed, I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind, but before we go to the next break in 2 minutes. Are you familiar with the DOJ virus?
DOJ.
I first learned that a couple years ago, and if your computer gets that virus on it, it shuts your whole computer down. You have a black screen. It is very difficult to get it removed off of there, but thankfully my brother's an engineer, and he found out the correct information to remove the DOJ virus, and it is very difficult to remove it. So I wanted to point that out. We have 1 minute to go before we go to the break, Mohammed.
Actually, actually I've heard about it, but we never learned about it back in college. So that's the first time I'm hearing, but I'm gonna have to investigate that.
Yeah, investigate that. We'll explore that more time, or probably on the next police report show, because I think it's just so important to let everybody know about that DOJ virus. It's not the Department of Justice, so they're not responsible. But if you get that virus on your computer, I am telling you from experience, it is very, very, very difficult to remove. So we have 1 minute to go, Sarge.
Yes, sir. I'm not so sure about all those viruses, but I will get tests that come through at work occasionally where they will on purpose send test virus or what looks like real things that they will look to see if we will click on them. And it's good because it makes us be wary. And it's important that we all think like that every day, so that we don't click on things.
I know we
have
have
to be careful.
we have 10 seconds before we go to the break, so I just want to point out, like you said, clicking on things. Even if somebody's sending you a picture, you have to use caution. Once you click on that photo, it could infect your computer tremendously. Keep it locked right here, ladies and
What
gentlemen.
does Meals on Wheels do? They deliver meals and smiles to homebound seniors. But Meals on Wheels does something else. They turn a volunteer's lunch break into a meaningful experience.
As small and as simple as a relationship is between a volunteer and a client of Meals on Wheels, it's really so impactful. I never thought that 5 minutes could make so much difference in the lives of two people, but it has.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org. That's americaletsdolunch.org. Brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WBIS Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM on your radio dial.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM, WBISLP. You are tuned into the Police Report, First Responders Show. I am joined by Sergeant Lee Darnell, Pitt County Sheriff's Office, Public Information Officer, and Mohammad Innab, cybersecurity expert. He smiled at me when I said expert. Don't make me laugh. But we are down to our final 20 minutes of today's broadcast, so I'm not going to hold anything up. I don't know if Sarge has any information on this, but the DA, Pitt County DA Ferris Dixon, plans to try suspected killer in Superior Court, not juvenile court. Pitt County District Attorney said that his office aims to prosecute the suspected killer in a 2023 Greenville shooting in Superior Court. So he's going to try him in Superior Court rather than juvenile court. Even though he was a juvenile when the homicide and related shooting occurred. That Ferris Dixon said during a news conference, which was held in regards to the killing of Jayden Harrison, 21. And the document I have is at least 2 or 3 pages of length, so I'm not going to read it all. But the family pours out their heart to the community, asks for anybody with information to contact your local police department and to be of service to the family and to Mr. Jayden Harrison, who lost his life due to that violent act. So I don't know, excuse me. I don't know if Sarge has any information on that or not. But if you do, Sarge, I'll yield my time to you right now.
I really don't, other than it's taken a lot of time and more effort than the public will ever possibly realize to reach this stage of the investigation to get the arrest. A lot of sleepless nights, some very heinous crimes, 2 crimes tied together. And I know I've spoken personally to the Greenville Police Chief on multiple occasions and some of the investigators in discussions about the case and just how much it hurt not being able to lock someone up, get them off the street, and yes, the person charged is a juvenile, but the criminal laws allow a certain point for a capital crime to move forward with a trial as an adult, and the DA is empowered to make that decision and to move forward, and the DA's made that decision. And I won't express personal opinions. Of course, I have them, but I'll just withhold that. Of course, I have them. Emotion certainly plays in.
Yeah, I'll just read.
But it is a very heinous crime, and
it is.
And the police worked hard and did an amazing job to bring someone to justice. They worked hard, and they did their job well. Even though it took a lot longer than any of us wanted, themselves included, but I think they did it well.
Yeah.
And I just want to see justice carried out, and now it's in the court's hands.
Yeah, I want to see justice carried out too for Mr. Jaden Harrison's killer as well. I'll just read 2 or 3 more paragraphs of this statement that I have in front of me. Then I'll give it over to Mohammad, see what he has else. All right. In addition to charges in Harrison's death, the suspect is accused of the December 10, 2022 shooting of a young man at home on Kinsey Loop in Winterville. His identity is not being released at this time because he was younger than 18 when the 2 crimes occurred, authorities said. Second paragraph, Winterville police investigated the 2022 shooting. The department said at the time that the young man was attacked from behind about 7 p.m. as he tried to enter his home near Jessica Drive in the residential area off of Laurie Ellis Road. The department has yet to release the identity of the person who was shot. The last part I'm going to read is the team was developed as a suspect after the State Bureau of Investigation Crime Lab determined that DNA evidence sent to its identification from both crimes matched, our drug authority said. He then was taken into custody by the Greenville Police Department Violent Crimes Apprehension Unit team. The department said the young man's identity is still being held until it reaches Superior Court, according to DA Ferris Dixon. Mohammad, do you have anything off there at this time?
Well, I looked up what you said, DOJ. If your computer is logged and you're seeing your computer has been blocked, notification from the United States Justice, that means that your computer is infected by a piece of malware known as Trojan Urasi. This treats it as distributed through several means, malicious websites or legitimate websites that have been compromised may drop this Trojan onto a compromised computer. This drive-by download often happens superiority, and another method used as a type of malware is spam email containing infected attachments or links of malicious websites. The threat may also be downloaded manually by tricking the users into thinking that they are installing a useful piece of the software, maybe like some sort of antivirus or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And I was gonna say that sometime I know for a fact individuals that call me up and say, "Hey, look, I got something that popped up on my computer screen says my computer is infected. Please click this link to download blah 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 blah." I said, "Let me tell you something. Whatever you do, do not click that link. That's going to install another virus on the computer. That's what they want you to do. Either that, or it might be something you can click on. They're trying to get you to pay for something."
Exactly, it's a trick. Scammers and hackers are sneaky. They know how to make it sound convincing, but they'll try to make it they. But the only reason why they became hackers is because maybe the situations they're in, and or somebody paid them to do it.
Right. That's the part. Somebody paid them to do it. Plus, they don't have anything better to do at that time but sit there and do these malicious things to ruin somebody's life or ruin their computer. I think it's a travesty.
Or maybe just steal what else they can use. If like for example, if they try to target, it depends on the company they're targeting, like maybe a police department or some other corporates maybe. If it's police departments, do you think that they might just delete the criminal records of the previous criminal history of a guy and replace it with somebody else?
Well, I think when it comes to a law enforcement agency, and maybe Sergeant Darnell can give us more on this, I think when it comes to a law enforcement agency, some of their systems are encrypted, so it's very, very, very difficult to access.
Not unless if someone has that skill to do it, and they may be able to pull it off. Life is full of scary people these days.
I'm not sure. It's like almost recently I was reading news articles about bomb threats at the school where my oldest granddaughter attends, and I called her up right away and told her, Jayla, if you see something or hear something, get somebody's attention and say something. So, but I want you to stay safe at all times because I know a lot of things are going on in our schools. And I was at A.G. Cox Middle School just last week. I just said, if you see something or hear something, bring it to somebody's attention immediately. And the alternative, if they would gave me a call, I would not hesitate to come over there and pick you up and bring you home.
That's understandable. Not to mention what happened in Texas. There's been a shooting in Texas from 2022, I believe. 21 deaths. 19 of them were children, and 2 of them were teachers.
Thank you for mentioning that because I'm going to give this last 9 minutes to Sergeant. I'm going to ask him this question since you just brought that up. So I think if they relax the gun laws in Texas, because the gun law in Texas to me is outrageous. Anybody can walk around with a gun.
It doesn't matter how old they are; they still use it.
Yeah, I think if they relax some of their laws in Texas involving firearms, perhaps they wouldn't have all these shootings, because there is an awful lot of shootings going on in Texas.
There has.
Sarge.
So, what is your question to me, my friend?
Do you think they should possibly look at the lessening some of the gun laws in Texas because of the the amount of shootings that occur in Texas? I know you're not affiliated with Texas, but just in general speaking.
Well, that's a slippery surface. I'm not going to get into speculating on whether or not laws need to be loosened or tightened on guns in Texas or North Carolina.
Yeah, and now that I know you was going to say that.
Yeah, I'm sorry to let you down on that one.
No, you didn't let me do. I kind of expected that because I know you have to watch what you say. Well, not. Let me put it another way. I know you have to be concerned about things that you mentioned also. So I absolutely respect what you just said, Mohammad.
Well, let's just say, hey, parents, make sure you treat your children make sure you help your children. Make sure not to do anything crazy because if they bang up a house of a wrong person, they might regret it. And they might just shoot first, questions later.
Okay, we are down to 7 minutes of today's broadcast, so I want to another attempt to have a listener call in. So, listeners, if you have a comment or question, please don't hesitate to call. We have 7 minutes to remain for today's broadcast. The number is 252-756-2008. We are standing by waiting for your call. We are down to 6 minutes, so be quick and brief if you can, please. Thank you. Anybody have anything further to say before we get a call? If we could, somebody will call in.
I'd say let them have their moment.
I'm sorry, Sarge.
I'll take a couple minutes if I may.
Sure.
And go back to the last caller said, in that I know you do have a huge heart, and I know that you know and love the Lord and serve Him well, my friend, and that's a beautiful quality.
Absolutely.
And I thank you for that. And I'll expand off of that. I have failed in that regard so many times, but I keep trying. I can always do better. But in my career, I've worked hard for over 30 years to at least serve my fellow citizens well, with an emphasis on trying to please my Lord, you know. And with that, I'll say to anyone listening, if you feel a calling to be of service to your fellow man, we have a variety of ways you can do that through the sheriff's office, whether it's in the detention center or as a deputy. It doesn't have to be on patrol. It can be in court. It can be serving papers. It can be any number of ways, investigating crimes. It can be in forensics, in the laboratory. It can be as a dispatcher, sitting behind the console on a computer. So many ways you can be of service through the sheriff's office. The salaries are great. The retirement package and benefits are great. Give us a chance. Look at us. Go to our website, pittcountysheriff.com, and take a look at what we can offer you. We have a lot to offer. A great career. You have to be 20 years old or older. 20, come on. 120, hey, come on.
Come on.
Anywhere in between.
Yeah. And I said this, and I said this, but I'll say it again. Had I knew then what I know now, I probably would be a Pitt County Sheriff's Deputy Sergeant or something of that effect had I chose another path before my accident. So you're absolutely right, Sarge. It is a great opportunity. I actually, out of all the places I have resided, I find Pitt County to be the most exhilarating and the most that I have seen that has to offer. So I agree with you. Mohammad, we have 3 minutes left for today's broadcast.
Well, they say that the DOJ is most likely a monkey pack scam. A money pack scam, actually. So,
Money back.
that's one way. It's so they can steal money. You see, if they want to, you see, they like to make briberies. It's related to ransomware attacks. So they could easily try to use it to gain more money from their victims if they bribe them, or should I say, threaten them. But as of how to remove it, in considering what I'm reading right now, it's very hard to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I remember when I got it, and this was while I moved here, when I first moved here to North Carolina, it got attached to one of my laptops. I had to call my brother, like I said, he's an engineer. So he looked around, made calls, and blah, blah, blah. Found out the information to get it removed. And let me tell you something, it was extremely difficult to remove. That I do remember, but I want you to get more information on that. Perhaps when you come back on the next police report show, we'll have more information available for our listening audience, because I think it is so very important to talk about that DOJ virus.
It is very malicious malware.
Like Sarge said, you don't know much about the virus stuff, but Sarge, I'm gonna give you the last 2 minutes to take us on out today.
Wow, 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
You're not tired of hearing me yet? All right, 2 more minutes. Well, I'll say this. If you see something, say something. Pitt Greenville Crime Stoppers is alive and well. I paid a $500 reward just today where someone filed a tip with some information that they knew. They will remain anonymous from now on, but they have already received $500 in cash for saying what they knew.
Great.
You can call at 252-758-7777 with what you know, and that next $500 may be yours.
That's right. Don't hesitate to call if you know something. If you see something, or say something. Sarge, you want to give out the Crime Stoppers number, please?
252-758-7777. You can also go to crimestopper.org, or we use the P3 Tips phone app, P3 Tips.
Okay, I hope everybody was able to write that down. If not, email me at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com. I will get all of the relative information so that you will have it available in the event you need to call someone or email someone or visit a website. So, Mohammad, we have 20 seconds. Do you have anything else?
Not that I can think of.
All right, before we go, I want to thank my Sergeant Darnell for being here today. I want to thank Mohammad for his cybersecurity. I want you to do me a favor. Look up as much as you can on the DOJ virus. We'll explore that on the next Police Report show. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Awesome Radio, 106.9 FM. So long.
This is Glenn Coward. You're listening to Awesome Radio.